Sup. Situated here. Lee, what's happening, man? It's been a little bit.
Oh, hello. Busy. What's going on?
Doing good.
I went to the Genesis the other day, Lee.
Genesis,
right,
well, like for like a car
PGA
dealership?
tour event.
Okay, yeah.
So we're at the 18th hole at the Riviera with my son and his friends, and literally we're sitting on this hill, and these guys had to drive at like 280 in the air to get near us. Fucking guy, it zipped behind my son's head and landed between me, our group, and the group above us. And then it rolled down the hill, and we stood there. I mean, I was right there for this guy, Italian dude, I can't remember his name, hitting his shot to the green. I've never been that close to a pro. It was crazy.
Dude,
anyway,
that's awesome.
But you'd appreciate that.
100%. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's great. That's very
Thanks
cool.
for allowing me to tell that story, Mike.
Oh, Andrew, you're allowed to tell all the stories, man. I appreciate you. Let me just get these note takers out here because they're driving me nuts. All right, cool. Last time we talked, we were talking about communication. How do you communicate up to your boss? Being more direct with your reps. And today we're actually going to talk about numbers. So like what we're tracking, how we track it, why we track it, that kind of stuff. So if you I just want to get you to get yourself in that mindset of numbers, like how you track things. Feel free to ask me any questions here, because I do think that this is an area where people don't like to ask questions. They're like, if I don't understand this or I don't quite get it, it's a math thing. So like, does that make me a dummy? And it's like the number stuff is probably the most the most talked about thing privately when I have like one-on-ones with people. It's like, hey, actually, like I didn't quite understand like that. Ooh, my computer. All right, let's do the entire screen. All right, so I talked to some of you guys about this before. Okay, cool. So anything that you're tracking in life needs to be like the pipe in, the pipe progress, and the pipe out. Basically, your inputs, your throughputs, and your outputs. So like Brumley, I know what your company does. So input is like I knock on a door. Throughput is what percent of doors that I knock on. What percent of doors that I knock on where the person's home turn into an inspection? Because if I knock on 1,000 doors and you knock on 1,000 doors and I make $100 and you make $5,000, that is not an input problem. We are doing the same amount of work. It's a conversion rate problem or throughput or progress problem. And then of course, pipe out. How much money did you make? How much money did you make? Okay. So everybody should be tracking that. If you directly manage any humans, you should be tracking how many things did you do, what percent moved to some level, the next stage, let's call it, and how many things did you print. If you manage a manufacturing facility, it's going to be like, how many yards of denim did we receive? How many, what percent of the yards of denim were used, and how many jeans did we print? Same thing is true on sales and everything else, okay? So remember, though you have humans on your team, you, at the end of the day, run a manufacturing facility, which is like, I have leads, I have a way to close them, and then I have revenue. Okay, so as a manager, that's what we're tracking. The next level up is you want to be tracking that over time. Oftentimes, even with CEOs, they'll say like, hey, we had like $800,000 came in last week. And I'm like, is that good? They're like, yeah, that's great. You know, it's $800,000. And I'm like, how do you know? And they're like, well, it's better. It's better. You know, I feel like we do. It's better than what we've been doing. And I'm like, is it? Let me show you an example of this right now. So this company, let me go to like 25, right? They're like, let me see. I'm going to give a good example here. This whole time period, they're like, we are fucking crushing. We're crushing. Look, they're all very, very happy. Their goal is like $9,000 a month. This is like MRR. And I'm like, okay, well, why don't we look at the trend over time? You're doing 8% better year over year. And 11 here and 16 here in November, and you had a fucking awesome December. But like over here, they were like, we're crushing. And I'm like, no, you're not. You are not crushing. Even up here, I remember we were like, so their goal is like $9,000. So up here, I remember I meet with them every week. They're like, we're doing all right. We're just missing our targets. But we had a great month here in March. We're doing all right. And I'm like, no, if you look at the trend, you are actually doing significantly less year over year in those same months. So you're doing very bad. So this is just showing the importance of understanding trends over time. Okay. You guys with me so far still? You picking up what I'm putting down? Okay, cool. Sweet. And then the last thing you want to do, go ahead, Agnes.
Did you scold them?
Yes, I did. I started that document a year ago because they were like talking about 23 versus 24, and now we got 25 versus 24. All right. The last thing you want to do then here is you want to group these things by variable. So let me talk. I'll talk like about stupid shit. I feel like that sometimes can be helpful. So if I know if I know this is like Moneyball, okay? If I know that on sunny days, like Roger Clemens, I remember hearing this. If it's warm, he throws like 15% more strikes. So they isolated a variable and they said, let me see Roger Clemens's performance over time, grouped by weather. Oh, we're going to change the lineup, change the pitching schedule because I don't want him pitching in Green Bay. I want him pitching in Texas. So that's what people are doing at the higher levels of an org. The same thing happens with Facebook or any of these other big companies. What they're looking for is variables that they can group, and they find lopsided winning. Let me show you an example here. All right. So in this company, we were looking at revenue over time, and it was like going good. So I said, what if we broke revenue into a variety of other categories? So I said, I want to see the variable number of contacts that we talked to on an opportunity. And does that have any correlation to win rate or deal size? I want to see existing customers versus new customers. Does that have a correlation? I want to see if we're selling this product versus this product. Does that have a correlation? What about the number of activities? Now, all I'm doing here is I'm running a variety of pivot tables to do this, which I show you how to do, but then, or I will show you how to do. And I'm then able to look at how many customers did we have, how many leads did we get, and what was the amount they closed. That tells me my win rate, my deal size, and my 100 score. 100 score meaning if I had 100 of these customers, I only had 6. But if I had 100, how much money would I make? I do that 100 to say like, well, I had 6 here and 3 here and 15 here. So how do I compare revenue? It's like there's all different customers. But with the 100 score, it's to say if I had 100, the same amount. So now it's very clear to me what's going well and what's not going well. Services is fucking crushing. Licensing, not so much. It's like 1/3 services. If we only have 1 contact, we do not win. If we have 5 contacts, we do win. So this is why I'm grouping by a variety of variables. Are you guys still with me on this? This is like where I typically lose people.
When you say grouping by variables, that's a very flexible term that is, meant to reach across any industry you might be training salespeople in, right?
Good. Truly, because it could be, we could look at source of lead. We could look at number of outreaches we did. We could look at which rep, which region. We could look at, Matt works with stuff where storms matter. We could look at like size of storm. So it could be truly anything that you think might increase or decrease your win rate or deal size. I want to look at so we can then see, is there a variable or combination of variables where we are lopsidedly winning? Whoa, we didn't get a lot of deals last year in this category, but when we did, we fucking crushed. All right, guys, moving forward. Great example, Jeff Brickler. You guys will see him in some of these meetings. We looked at where his revenue was coming from. He spent the last 2 years trying to make SDRs work. Can't make it work. Can't make it work. Can't make it work. Sign up with me to help make it work. Can't make it work. And then we finally did a deep analysis last year. And I was like, all of your money is coming from partners. Like your partner deals close at a higher rate for more money, but you guys are doing nothing to get partners. He fired his SDRs. He had told his brother, I don't want 75 grand to go to conferences. I actually am only going to be going after partnerships. And he might now be hiring an SDR exclusively to go after partners. And the whole business is changing because we realized partners is where all the money is coming in from.
Go back 1 sec. Sorry. You have like under 10, under 40, and they have, they perform differently, right? But why do you choose those numbers?
These were, this is arbitrary because there's no way to know what it is. So I was just looking at, he gave me all his weird raw data. It's like he pulled it from his HubSpot or whatever. And I could see number of activities. I could see number of contacts. And so if I want to see, is there some variation between under 10, 30, 40, 50? So I thought of it. And so that's why I did it. And there is a pretty wild difference, right? You can see that like there's some weird thing where it's like 10 to 30 activities is a big problem. What's going on there? So yeah, no, it was, I like to take whatever grouping, which in this world was activities. And then if I can group it even further.
But I just asked because it's a little confusing because it's like under 40 is 100% win rate, but that doesn't tell me anything in comparison to under 30 or under 10. It's like so is it between 30 and 40 that gets me 100%? You know what I mean? That's why I was asking. Like,
so if it makes, so what I was doing here was I wrote it as under 10, but this is 1 to 10, 11 to 30, 31 to 40, 41 to 50.
Got it. Okay. All right. That's my assumption, but I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah. Glad you did. Okay. There's about 1,000 different KPIs you should be looking at. What I find is whenever someone's like, what sort of dashboard should I be looking at? What sort of numbers should I be considering? Or they start looking at numbers. What they look at comes off the top of their head. Oh, it'd be cool to know this. It'd be cool to know that. This would be interesting. And you end up getting like 1,000 different pieces of information. You never use any of them. Or you end up seeing there's so much info that you get kind of lost in it. So everything you want to look at is going to be typically quantity and quality. So you should, I mentioned earlier to you, Matt, where it was like, if I have two regions and the two regions are performing differently, and I got to figure out why. I'm the CEO. I'm going to be like, let me look at the quantity of leads. Let me look at the quantity of reps, quantity of hours, quantities of doors knocked. Let's say all those things are reasonably similar. Now I'm going to look at the quality of leads, the quality of reps, the quality of the door knocks, which might be the tenure of the rep, the amount of storms that are in that area, or the win rate of those leads. It might be the percent of deals that go from a house visited to inspection. But now with that information, I can diagnose what's going on. If I don't do that, I'm going to look at a shit ton of info and I'm going to start making inferences. I'm just going to be like, I feel like Joe sucks at his job and like Tommy's had this hard time over here. And you're just going to be kind of like finding enough numbers that will give you bias to what you were already thinking. Or if you start with, let me look at quantity. Is there a problem with quantity? No. We look at quality. Is there a problem with quality? No. And you will always find an issue with one of those two. So any reporting you do, it should be like quantity and then quality report. Cool. I'm going to skip type today. Here is a version of a dashboard I would recommend. There's a couple other versions I would recommend, but this is one that I think is really nice. That you are just looking at percent of quota and revenue. So like, am I hitting my target? Your boss is going to want to know that. Your boss also wants to know like the health of the pipeline always. So I want to know like how much money do I have in each stage? How much money do I have in each forecast category? Or how likely do I think they're going to close? So this might mean like I've got 20,000 deals in stage 1, 10,000 deals in stage 2, 3,000 deals in stage 3. Gives me a general idea of like what it's looking like. But then I also might say, hey, I've got 20,000 deals that are, I won't say 20,000, I'll say 10,000 deals that are unlikely, 8,000 deals that are probably not, 2,000 deals that are maybe, and 5 deals that are yes. It gives me a completely different view of that same pipeline. So I can see like what is the gut take that the sales team thinks about their deals, or like how close are they, how likely are they to close, and then also like where in the process are they? Because those are two different things. Swing, slipping, and now deals. What I like to do here is a lot of times we lose sight of like just like the big deal that it's like, if we get this deal or not, we'll decide whether we hit 20% or 120%. So you want to make sure you always have an eye in the swing deals. Slipping deals. Our job as managers is to see the forest for the trees. So I want to be able to have the reps look at every single deal and me to go, "Oop, hey man, you got a bunch of deals over there that are slipping. Oh shit, fuck it, I forgot, you're right." And then the now deals, these are the deals that you're expecting to come in the next few days or next week or whatever time frame makes sense for you. So you get an idea of like, are these deals coming in? And then I like to see these things over time. Revenue per rep over time tells me how good the reps are doing. And I've seen the same thing every time, by the way. I usually, whenever I see a rep's performance take a sharp right, 100% of the time they're quitting. And like they made a decision to quit here, and then you just see it go happen. It's like, I can predict it, within days, I feel like. So that's really important to see. And your general feeling on reps is like, based on the last 6 months interactions with them, and you kind of like Tony better than you like Timmy, and so you feel like Tony's better. But when you see this, you end up going like, "Oh fuck, I didn't realize like Jake was better than Tony. The fuck? Oh, that's cool. Let me change how I run the team." Win rate over time obviously gives you your quality, another quality number, like how good are you at closing, and deal size over time gives you an idea of that. If your sales cycle is longer than a month, you would want to look at this in quarters. If your sales cycle is longer than a quarter, you want to look this at in like rolling 180 days, if you know what I'm saying. If your sales cycle is over 6 months, you'd want to look at this as like a rolling 365 days. Anybody not understand what I just said?
Can you just say it again?
Yep. If your sales cycle is greater than a month, when you look at the time frame, instead of like month 1, month 2, month 3, month 4, you should look at quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4. If your sales cycle is greater than a quarter, I would want to do the current win rate or current deal size. But instead of showing this month versus this month or this quarter versus this quarter, I would want to be showing the last 180 days or the last 6 months. What is the current win rate in that year if it's greater than 6 months? Cool. All right. Cool. Screenshot, steal, whatever. This I have found to be some general benchmarking information. So if you are mid-market, you're looking at row 1. If you're enterprise, you're looking at row 2. What we're looking at here is what is your typical win rate? Let's look at just the mid-market just for randomly. So win rate, typical mid-market win rate is between 20 to 30%. This means that your outbound deals are going to close at like 10, 15. Your inbound deals are going to close at like 30, 40, typically. Your deal size mid-market is kind of in that 15K range. However, I don't like to put it as a dollar amount. It's more like everybody changes the definitions like mid-market, SMB, enterprise, or whatever. Just think it as like, for the person you're selling to, is the product you're selling to them a big deal, a medium deal, or a small deal? To me, as a consumer, a $15,000 purchase would be an enterprise purchase. $15,000 purchase to somebody in this a huge company is a credit card. $15,000 to a company that has 50 employees, that's medium. So you can see how that doesn't really add up to just be like, here's the dollar amount, but it gives you a general idea. Sales cycle in this mid-market should be around a month, 45 highest. And then they should show you generally some time. They should be in the first stage, second stage, third stage. This is like, I had a demo that should only be a day or two. And then it's like, I had disco, and then we ran the demo and we're waiting a week to hear back. And then we give the proposal, we're waiting a week back. And then we send the contract, we're waiting a couple of days. General idea of how these things should look, okay? Some other benchmarks here. So what we're looking here is if you have a small deal size or a short sales cycle, you can handle about 100 new deals per month, up to 200. So if you're fucking slinging $3,000 courses, you could every month get an additional 100, maybe even 200 leads, and you can manage that. The reason is if I got 100 leads on the first day of the month, the last day of the month, I would have 0 leads because it's like because the sales cycle is like a week. So let's go to this next one. If you have like a medium-sized product or it's about a 1-month sales cycle, it's around 40 you can handle. The reason being, I'm going to get 40 in the beginning of the month. At the end of the month, I'm going to have a few scratches. This is where it starts to go downhill in terms of number of deals. So when if you're a leader trying to figure out how to separate deals out, how many reps you need, this is the math you want to be doing. Okay, we have to have 100 deals per month until I hit our target. Okay, to have 100 deals per month, and our sales cycle, let's say, is 3 months, we need 5 sales reps. Because if I give one sales rep 100 deals, he's going to have 100 deals, and then month 2 he's going to have 200 deals, and in month 3 he's going to have 300 deals. That does not work. So I need to have it be like you have 20 deals, and then 40 deals, and then 60 deals. That can work in that time frame. So this is the amount of leads you can basically take or deals you can basically handle new based on how long your sales cycle is. You guys can read this. This is basically the win rates I would expect for these different dollar amounts, or like very small, kind of small, medium, large, very large. For inbound and outbound, you can see it changes pretty significantly for inbound and outbound. Oftentimes everyone's like, we got to go outbound. And I'm like, okay, if we go outbound, we have to hire, let's say 2 SDRs, 80 grand, a couple softwares, we're now at 100 grand. And the win rate on what they do is going to be 1/3 in a lot of times of the inbound. So what makes more sense? 150 grand a year or 30 grand, 10 grand more per month for inbounds. Okay. This is the big one I want you guys to be looking at for leadership capacity. Under 5, you should have absolutely no problem managing your team. If you are having a problem managing your team and you have 5 people or less, you do not have systems. And that's what we should be talking about. You should be able to be in their deals, on calls, helping them, proactively thinking about shit before they think about it. Your boss should be able to throw you some project like, hey, figure out the CRM thing or whatever. No problem. Under 10, sort of like 5 to 10, this is like the typical spot for a leader where it's like, I can do 1 or 2 projects, changing pricing, launching a new thing, thinking about training, and I can run a team. And nobody's going to be like, he's always so busy. If that is happening, again, we got to look at systems. Over 10, you are just holding on. You're not helping anybody. all you wake up, answer 100 Slacks, and you go to bed. And then you wake up and answer 100 Slacks, and then you go to bed. So if you have leaders underneath you, please note what they're able to do. Oftentimes, it's the companies that have like one super leader who's got 12 reps and he never bitches. They then like throw a bunch of shit at him, and they're like, he's not performing. And you're like, it's because he's got too much shit in his life. Okay. It's not really, all right, do it this way then instead. I know. Perfecto. All right, I'm going to ask you guys some questions now. So let's look here. So first I want to show you guys the difference between looking at just inputs and outputs and looking at the throughput. So this is the win rate of each person in this team. This is the deal size of each person on this team. So you can see, for example, Pat is both the highest deal size and lowest win rate. Okay. So who's the best person on the team? I don't know. I mean, it's like, how can I possibly do this math in my head to be like, okay, 11.3 is greater than this by double, but 629, that's only 30% lower. No way. That's why we do the 100 score. So I'm just doing 100 times this. And we can see here how if I give Adam 100 leads, he's going to give me 50 grand. And if I give Pat the same 100 leads, I'm going to lose $15,000. So when we go back to the beginning, when we think about these different variables, imagine if these variables, instead of humans, were sources, seasons. If the VP is involved, if the VP is not involved, and how quickly, when you put it in this terms, how quickly you might make changes in the org to go moving forward. It's a great example. It's like trials. It's like we see if they do a trial, our win rate is 85%. Moving forward, no motherfucker is allowed to do anything without doing a trial. But what if they don't want to do a trial? They have to do a trial. This is why like McDonald's has an app and everybody has an app, and they're like, get the app, because they know like if you have the app, your lifetime value is 33% higher. So I don't care if they want it, don't want it, if they're just getting it because it says it on the thing to get a freak. I don't care because we know we get 33% more. You should be making those strategic decisions as well. If you run just humans, you should be looking at your humans and looking at their section of their world and trying to do some of this analysis, even if you don't have the hard numbers. You could sit down with your rep and go, Matt, I'm picking on you. You go like, hey man, when your win rate I know is 10%, whatever it is. So let's just take that out. Here's 3 different situations. You know, the person is a dick, the person's not a dick, the storm just happened, didn't happen, whatever. Just make up variables. And you can just go, do you think your win rate would be higher or lower in these situations? Higher. By how much? 11, 8, 6, 5. What about deal size? A little bit more, a little bit less, a little bit more, a little bit less. And then you can now create a hypothetical 100 score without having the data in the first place to go, hey man, based on what you're saying, you should be spending all of your time to people's houses who are dicks. So how do we figure out how to only hang out with dicks? And now as a manager, that's what you want to help them figure out. But you want to pull this data for them. Otherwise, they're just a guy swinging the bat, and they don't realize that their strike zone, like their key zone, is up and out. And your job as a manager is to show them that key zone, whether it be a rep, if you are a frontline manager, a manager, if you are a second tier manager, an executive, a whole region, if you are the executive. Shall feel?
Yeah,
Sweet.
and the key is to pull the right data, right? Like based on the benchmarks, KPIs, whatever you're looking at.
Yep. I say go crazy with it. Think about anything you possibly can, because you never know. It's always unique and kind of weird where those pockets are. It's not like so obvious, like Facebook ads, boom, boom, boom. It's kind of more unique. All right, guys, get out of here. Love you all. See you soon.
Quick question, Mike, if you have a second.
Yeah, sure.
It's more kind of specific to me and transition we're making. So we're doing a huge price increase going up market March 1st. Basically, I know everyone in my pipeline has been massively annoyed by me recently. And if they aren't buying before this price increase, like they're done, right? And that means our initial fee to join is going from $25,000 to $35,000. They're not going to pay $35,000. I have a handful of like 20 people in my pipeline that are like, hey, 10,000 is nothing. It's just timing. Cool, great. I'll keep them in the pipeline. Do I just clear everybody out of the pipeline and basically start from zero? Like how would I do that? Does that make sense?
Yep. I would. I'm very big on that. So I would dump. I would say I would probably have some sort of big push of like, is this ever going to happen or whatever? I might even though you can't do it, I might do something like, hey, our price is raising by $10,000. However, if you respond to this email, we can lock you into $25,000. Should you ever want to sign up? See if any of them respond. if they do,
Yeah.
cool, you can figure out what to do with them next. But if they don't, then like they were never going to.
Yeah, I've been doing that for the last 2 months, really, like email campaigns, outbound, personalized text, you name it. So it's more like just delete it, start from scratch.
Delete it. I would send
It's
one
kinda-
more note maybe, and then get out of there.
Okay, sweet. Thank you, sir. That's what I figured. Just want a
Likewise.
sanity check.